Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's our third week, I believe, of this new reality, at least here in the temple. I'm here again by myself, but again, my gratitude to all of you who have shared your appreciation and your gratitude for being able to continue to worship and to celebrate Shabbat even in this unusual fashion. I hope that it has been as meaningful for you as it has for me, and we will continue on as we always have to make sure that when we do finally return to this space, that connection between you and me, between us and this beautiful temple, between all of us and our sacred task of celebrating Judaism remain unsevered. So I'm going to begin as I have the last few weeks, and I admit it is certainly a somewhat self-serving or selfish choice, but to begin with Yedid Nefesh, which maybe by the time we're done with all of this, everyone will have learned since I've been doing it each week, but is just a piyut, a piece of poetry that growing up was really one of the signs that Shabbat was coming for me, especially when I was a young person in camp. To hear hundreds of young people singing this together was really, really quite powerful. And as I said, even though I can't hear your voices, I can hear them in my mind and in my heart. So even though sometimes it feels as if I'm singing alone, I know truly I am not. So again, if you're following along on the online version of Mishkan Tefillah, which you should have received in emails for the last several weeks, and again this week, we are on page 636. My understanding is that there are sort of two sets of page numbers at the bottom of the page, which can be a little bit confusing. Err on the higher number. I forget, there's one that's in blue and one that's not. Basically, long story short, there are two versions of our prayer book. One that only contains prayers for Shabbat, and another that is larger, that contains prayers for weekdays and festivals as well. We use the larger one here at the temple, hence the reason why the higher number is more likely the one that you are looking for. So in our case, we'll begin our service on page 636, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman Meshoach Avdecha El Retzonecha Yaharutz Avdecha Kemo Ayam Ishtachavem El Mul Hadarecha Yehavlu Yedidutecha Min Hofetzu Vechotam Adonai Ziv Haolam Nafshi Cholat Ahapatecha Ana El Narefana Alam Beharot Na Noam Zivecha Az Titchazek V'titrapem V'haita Alam Simchat Olam V'tikyemunam Rachamecha V'chusanam Al Benahu V'cham Ki Zekamam Nichsof Nichsafti Lirhot B'tiferet Uzecha Chusana ve'al natit alam igalena ufros chavivi alay etzukat shelomecha Ta'yeretz mikvodecha Nagila v'nismecha bach Maher ahuv Givamoe V'chanenu Kimei olam Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai lai Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai lai Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai lai Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai lai. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Here I haven't quite gotten over my cough, but there is nobody in the building, I assure you. It's only myself and the microphone. So before we begin our service, we will light our Shabbat candles on page 120. If you have your candles at home, this would be a good time to light and bless along with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. So before we begin Kabbalat Shabbat, let's all take a moment for ourselves, wherever we may be. Try to find your center, your sense of self, and just to close your eyes and reflect for just a few moments. As we open our eyes, let's take a deep breath in together. Let a deep breath out. And we'll open up our prayer books, our Sidurim, virtually or otherwise, to page 130 as we begin Kabbalat Shabbat together. At the very top of the page, the 95th Psalm. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzoi shenu, Nekadma fana v'todah Naria letzor yishenu Bizmirot naria lo Lechu ner hanena l'Adonai Lechu ner hanena l'Adonai. Now in Psalm 96, on page 131, just in the middle of the page. Shiru l'Adonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom, yeshuato, shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom, yeshuato, shiru l'Adonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom, yeshuato, shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom, yeshuato. Psalm 97 is on page 132, the last paragraph at the bottom of the page in Hebrew. Or zaru ala tzadik ulehishrei lev simcha. 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 Turn now to page 134, Psalm 98, very top of the page. Zamru l'Adonai bechinahor, bechinahor v'kol zimram, b'chatzotrot v'kol shofar. Hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayam umlo, Tevehel veyoshveva, Nehar hotim chaf yachad, Harim yiranenu, Lifnei Adonai kivam, Lishbot haaretz, Yishbot tevel v'tzedek, ve'amim b'mesharim, Yiram hayam umlo, tevel ve'yoshveva, Nehar hot imcha uchaf yachad, Harim yiranenu. We're now on page 135, the last paragraph in Hebrew in the middle of the page, Psalm 99. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'akodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'akodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Psalm 29 is on page 136, beginning at the very top of the page. Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, El kavod hirim, Adonai al mahayim rabim, Adonai al mahayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover harazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halbanon, Vayakidehem kemo egel, Levanon ve'Sirion, kemo ben rehimim, kemo ben rehimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lahabotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, Vayechesof yeharot uvechalom, Kulo mekavod, Kulo mekavod, Kulo mekavod. Adonai lamahu yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Turn now to page 138, beginning at the very top of the page, Lechadodi. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemu tiferet ve'litila. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor haberacha, Meherosh mikedem nesucha, Sof maaseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat chalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam, Lecha dodi likrat chalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam, Mikdash melech yirmenucha, Kumitzei mitoch ha'afecha, Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha, Vehu yachmol alayich chemla. Lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam, Lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Itna'ari me'afar kumim, Livshi bigdei tifartecha mi, Al yad ben Yishai v'talach mi, Korba el nafshi ge'alam. Lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam, Lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Itoreri, Kira orech umiuri, uri shir dahaberi, Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam, Lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam, Lo tevoshi ve'lo tikami ma tishtochachi, U'ma tehemi ma chechetzu ani'ei ami ve'nivneta. Irati la alecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam, Ve'hayu l'shimso shosayich ve'rachachu kol nef alayich yasis alayich Elohayich kimsos chatan akala alecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam, yamin u'shmol tifrotzi be'et Adonai, ta'aritzi al yadish, ben parti v'nismecha, ben agila lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Boi v'shalom, atet ma'ala gamel simcha, u'letzolatoch emunei, am segulam, boi chalam, alecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Ay lay lay lay, ay la 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 la, ay lay lay lay, ay la 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 la, ay lay lay lay, la 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 la, ay la lay, la 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 la, ay lecha dodi likrat kalam, B'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Please be seated at home. Turn now to page 140 We're in the Hebrew just where it indents in the middle of the page, the 92nd Psalm, Tzadik Katamar. Tzadik Katamar Yifrach Kerez Vamanon Yizke Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Ongenuvun Beseva Deshenim Verhananim Yehu Lehagim Ki Asher Adonai Tzurim Velo Amratabo. We rise for the Chatzikash on page 144. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbanim ve'amad yibrachirutei ve'amlich mafutei v'chayechon u'byom echon u'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'eimeru Amen. Yesh me'Rabba mevarach le'alam le'al me'al mayam yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yibasem v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dechutcha b'richu le'la min kol birchata v'shirata tushmechata v'nechemata Amen. We're on page 146. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. We turn now to page 149, and we'll read the second reading down from the top of the page, the first blessing before the Shema. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Which way shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother and my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Umavir yom umevi laila, umavil ben yom uve laila, Adonai tzavahot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed baruch at Adonai amari v'arabim. We turn now to page 150 and read together in English at the bottom of the page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us, Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Ki hem chayinu ve'orech yaminu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, v'avatcha tasir mimenu li'olamim, baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. We're on page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha ve'shinatam levanecha ve'dibarta bam ve'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha b'derech U'shokbecha uvkumecha, u'kshartam leot ayadecha, ve'hayu letotafot beinenecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Leman tizkeru, v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim li'ahod lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We turn now to page 157 and we'll read together in English at the very top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Page 158. Yabbai bye bim 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 bam, yabbai bye bim bam, yabbai bye bim 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 bam, yabbai bye bim bam, yabbai ba 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 ba, yabbai bye bim bam, yabbai ba 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 ba, yabbai bye bim bam. Nihi chamocha v'alim Adonai, nihi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nor hadilot Osefele, nor hadilot Osefele, yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yabai bye ba ba ba, yabai bye bim bam, yabai ba ba ba, yabai bye bim bam. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, Bokeam lifnei Moshe Miriam zelianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. V'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, Ugolo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Page 160. Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu le'shalom me'hamidenu shomreinu le'chaim. Ashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu le'shalom me'hamidenu shomreinu le'chaim. Ushmor tzeitehi Uvoenu Lechaim u'shalom me'ata v'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu le'shalom ve'habidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu le'shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. Page 162, at the top of the page, V'shama. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Einai beini ulein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim et ha'aretz u'bayom ha-shvi Shabbat Shabbat v'yinafash. We'll now rise together and begin the Amidah together on page 164. Please go at your own pace, and when you're finished, you may be seated. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat shalom, everyone. We're going to turn now to page 371 as we offer our Mishaberach, our prayer for healing. And this prayer is both a prayer of healing and also a prayer of protection. So in addition to all the people who we already know are sick and we are praying for them, we also offer this Mishaberach in essence to protect those who are helping to save those lives. All of the doctors, the nurses, the staff, the administrators, all of the shippers, all of the government officials who are actually helping, everyone around the world, and not just those in the hospitals, those who are still working in the grocery stores and in the pharmacies, those who are still delivering packages, everyone who is still volunteering to help serve in food pantries or to help in homeless shelters. The numbers of people who are out there risking themselves and their loved ones and their livelihood for the sake of those of us who are able to shelter in place, that we offer this Mishaberach for them as well, in essence, to extend, we hope, the loving protection and healing powers of God and of our community, and our hope and prayer that we will all emerge from this as quickly and as speedily as possible. We're on page 371. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu Abraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, v'yivarech et hacholim. We think first of those in our community and connected to our community who are in need of healing. Jean Ben Sadun, Gloria Taradash, Andrea Klausner, Neil Fagan, Judy Stern, Miriam Cornfield, Roz Brody, Chana Ruth Bat Sarah, Marlise Silverberg, Louis Davidson, Susan Spruce, Fagel Tzipora Bat Elisheva Bat Sarah, Richard Gambino, Michelle Sawicki, Idel Basha Bat Yitzchak, Tzvi Menachem Ben Chaim, Rivka Bat Devora, Amy and Gavin Tucker, Janice Kurz, David Dowling, Neil Elliott and Eileen Rosen, Israel Ben Yitzchak, Ben Sion Ben Moshe, Lorraine Danis, Buddy Kassoff, Shelley Newmark, David Kal Klotman, Rivka Bat Rachel, Sarah Bat Chana, Moshe Eliezer Ben Sivya, Peretz Ben Yehuda, and Leah Bat Naomi. And if you're thinking of anyone else this evening who you're holding in your hearts, we'll just pause for a moment for you to say their names out loud, wherever it is that you may be. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem, L'Hachalimam, L'Rabotam, L'Chazikam, V'Yishlach Lehem Meheira Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, Hashta B'Agalav Zman Kariv B'Nomar. Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are suffering. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say together, Amen. Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing, with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So I want to share a teaching tonight from one of my great and beloved teachers. Rabbi Marcelo Bronstein was one of my rabbis growing up at Congregation B'nai Jeshurun in New York City, who now lives primarily in Costa Rica with his wonderful wife Karina, and has dedicated himself increasingly to, in particular, focus on mindfulness practice and on Jewish mindfulness practice, something that he helped to bring to B'nai Jeshurun, which has now taken on its own identity, and for which he now runs retreats in Costa Rica to help those who are seeking a certain amount of that unique calmness that comes from the practice of mindfulness. And hopefully at some point or another I will be able to go on one of those retreats. I would love to be able to do that. But in the meanwhile, I wanted to bring you this teaching, which came via email last night, and which I haven't even fully, to be frank, fully had a chance to digest and to think about, but it just struck me as so beautifully conceived and worded that I wanted to share it with all of you tonight. So he begins by recalling a bar mitzvah that took place soon after September 11th. And the young bar mitzvah, in his Devar Torah, in his drash that morning, asked a question of himself. And he said, what is it that I want most? What do I want most? And his answer was September 10th. As Marcelo explains, we are experiencing something completely unprecedented now on a global scale. We are all, in essence, like that bar mitzvah boy, wishing to go back to a world that looks familiar. But we know that is not going to be like that for a while. So he identifies, really in a striking kind of way, that exact reality, right? That if all of us had a wish, and we could have that wish answered, it would be to go back in time, to do what we could to prevent what is currently taking place, to save the loss of life, to return to a normalcy, to be able to leave our homes, to be able to embrace loved ones, to be able to do the things that we took for granted only several weeks ago. And he draws from this, right, identifying first the emotional problem, right, the reality, the searching, the yearning that we're all feeling right now. And he goes then into a concept within Judaism to help explain how we might approach, not a solution, because there isn't really a solution to a problem like this, but a means by which to process and to continue on. And so he draws a connection to, and I'll explain in a moment, I'll read you what he's written and then try to unpack it a little bit after. The balance, the delicate balance, the interplay, the dance that exists between two forces within Jewish prayer, within Jewish, quite frankly, living. Keva and Kavanah. Keva, the fixed part of our routine, and the Kavanah, the intention that drives it. So he writes as follows. When the Keva, the fixed routine in our lives, got completely disrupted, we need to use all of our Kavanah, our intentionality, to create another type of keva, routine, structure, for the sake of keeping our sanity. We have to be careful not to sink into despair and into depression. Physical isolation for the sake of safety doesn't mean spiritual isolation. Today we have to be more connected than ever. This is a time to make the phone calls we have been postponing, to be a part of online classes, of groups, of meditations, of prayers, of yoga, and also to be okay with being quiet, to be quiet too. To be facing the edge of the unknown creates enormous anxiety in us. We have to be able to sit with our fears, to look at them, to notice them, and decide to put our attention somewhere else. He goes on to explain, of course, because of his passion and his love for practices of mindfulness, that this is really an excellent way, one of many ways, in which to try and bring some of these elements that are out of balance back into balance. And while I myself am not a practitioner of mindfulness meditation, I know from speaking to many who do this on a regular basis that it is deeply meaningful and deeply powerful for them. And there are many opportunities online of which, if you are interested, you can email me and I'll do my best to connect you with people like Rabbi Bronstein and others, some in our community itself who are wonderful practitioners of mindfulness, for which it may be very helpful to you. But I want to take this teaching and both expand it and then contract it, if that makes a certain kind of sense. And also to draw a connection, which I really have only been seeing really since I read this, to the section of the Torah where we now find ourselves. So this week we're going to read Parshat Tzav, and we are in the book of Vayikra, the center book of the books of the Torah. And this book, as I've talked about many times, can be quite challenging for many of us, largely because it focuses on the priesthood and on the sacrificial system and on the functioning of the Mishkan, which would eventually be the same practices that would be established in the temple many generations later. And many, many, many generations later after that would form the basis of our conception of the keva aspect of our current Jewish worship. In other words, that our worship, our structure, our siddur, our prayers, are in some form or another meant to be a continuation of, in some cases even a mimicking of, the practices of our ancestors many generations ago. And at first glance, if we read the stories, the parshiot in the book of Vayikra, the book of Leviticus, we are overwhelmed by the minutiae of it all, by the ritualistic nature of what was necessary in order for this sacrificial system, this priesthood, to function properly. And again, whatever we may feel as modern people about this system, for our ancestors, this was worship. This was it. So we cannot diminish what it was for them. We may feel differently about today, but we must use our minds to stretch a little bit to understand what this whole practice meant to our ancestors, not just to the Kohanim, not just to the Leviim, but to the entire community, because ultimately it relied on everybody, and everybody was involved in it. But certainly there was a lot of ritual, there was a lot of keva, there was a lot of structure, certain sacrifices that needed to be offered on a regular basis at regular times, certain sacrifices that needed to be offered under certain circumstances in very specific ways, but all of which meant to be followed to the letter. And we learn in the story of Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, that if we don't follow those directions as God has given them to us, really bad things can ultimately happen. So that structural piece is there really from, not day one, so to speak, not from Breshit, but day one of the beginnings of our formalized Jewish worship. So we have in our essence, right, within Judaism, this one element, this powerful element that tells us that we need to be structured. We need to do things at a certain time, we need to do them in a certain way, and we need to be consistent about them, and we need to make sure that even after we pass from this earth, that the next generation will continue to follow in suit. Now, of course, we know that over time, things change, things evolve. Judaism is an ever-evolving reality, and worship, once the temple was destroyed, changed in essence radically. Our structure, our system, had to change because we no longer had a temple, we no longer had a means by which to follow that structure. But I would also suggest that while we may focus more on the structural elements, the keva elements of the book of Vayikra, that if we look beyond, we will see that in fact every one of those structured steps, every aspect of that keva, is matched with a kavanah, with an intentionality, with a purpose behind the act. There was nothing done in the Mishkan, nothing done in the temple, and quite frankly, nothing done today in our siddur and in our sanctuaries and in our homes that is lacking the kavanah aspect of our existence, that is lacking intentionality. When our ancestors brought sacrifices, they had a purpose behind them. Sometimes they were one to make sure that there was a perpetual connection between us and God, and in some cases they were in reaction to, or in essence to make up for, actions taken by human beings, actions taken by community members that caused a disruption in the nature of the way in which society was meant to function. Offerings of peace, offerings of thanksgiving, offerings of forgiveness, all of these are part of the book of Vayikra as well, and all of them are part of our history. All of them are part of our essence. All of them are part of our current reality. we live in this balance between that which we need to fix into place, the thing that will ground us, the thing that will give us a sense of continuity, a sense of consistency and purpose and regularity, and at the same time an equal amount of effort to be designed towards the intentionality behind it, the purpose behind it, the outcome that is desired from the practice itself. And when these two things ultimately are out of balance in one form or the other, we feel that anxiety, we feel that pain, we feel that challenge to what is our existence going to be if suddenly one aspect or the other is damaged. And more often than not, it's actually the kavanah that is really the challenge. How are we going to have that intentionality when, for example, we're tired, or perhaps when we are angry with God, or perhaps when the person next to us in shul happens to be talking a little bit too loudly, or perhaps when the rabbi is droning on and we have lost interest in his or her words. But ultimately speaking, what we are struggling with right now, as Rabbi Bronstein points out, is not so much the kavanah aspect, but the keva aspect. Our regularity, our services, our functions are all off. And not just in a religious sense, but certainly in our daily life. Many of us are routinized people by nature. I most certainly am one of them. When my routine is shifted, I struggle. And oftentimes struggle in ways that I only can articulate after the fact. And so the question becomes, how is it that we are going to carry on if we have no control over the nature of the keva, of the structural piece of our lives currently? And so Rabbi Bronstein offers us several different opportunities for that expression, several different ways in which, if the keva piece that is normally in place doesn't work for us or can't work for us, then we must restructure. We must work extra hard, and we must actually from, perhaps more so than we would normally, from the kavanah part of our reality, from our intentionality, to say to ourselves, first, what is it that we need right now? What is it that we are struggling with individually and collectively and communally and universally right now? And how can we draw from that powerful essence within each of us, that powerful sense of intentionality, that powerful sense of what it is that we put behind our actions, to help us consider the reshaping of our structure, at least for the time being. So while it is perfectly acceptable, and I am as guilty as the next, of feeling like there are days right now where all we want to do is curl up into a ball, throw a cover over our heads, watch 15 hours straight of television, whatever it may be, that we must also be a little bit cautious about giving way entirely to that. In other words, giving way entirely to a destructured life. That I think it is important that each of us find a way to make sure that there is still a pattern to our existence, that we do know what day it is, that we do know what time it is, that we care about those things. And in particular, and it's very helpful within our tradition, we have a calendar. We have a Shabbat that comes regularly. We have holidays, like the upcoming Pesach, that come to remind us that even if the regular structural aspects of how we might go about celebrating Shabbat, celebrating Pesach, are disrupted, that the kavanah aspects are not being disrupted in the same kind of way. And that we can draw from that intentionality and help us to recreate a certain sense of comfort and a de-escalation of our anxiety through those means. So I want to close tonight by actually a prayer, a reading in our own prayer book, which if you want to see where it is on page 181, and of which I actually had never paid any attention to until this very moment. A reminder again of how wonderful this Siddur is, and how many gems are often hidden behind what we can't do or don't do because of our structure, because of our keva, right? So now is the time for our eyes and our hearts to be searching for these other kavanot. And here we have one that I think really does a remarkable job of taking Rabbi Bronstein's teaching for this Shabbat and taking it into a very personal space. So I will read it, and I hope that it will touch you in the same way that it has touched me. We reach for you, O our God, from our quiet places. May we stand still for a brief moment and listen to the rain. Stand still for a brief moment and watch the play of sunlight and shadow on the leaves. For a brief moment, Listen to the world. Let us stop the wheels of every day to be aware of Shabbat. Find the stillness of the sanctuary which the soul cherished. Renew the covenant of an ancient people. We need a quiet space to test the balance of our days, the weight of our own deeds against the heaviness of the world's demands. The balance is precarious. Steady us with faith. Quiet places and stillness, where will we hear our own best impulses speak? Quiet places and stillness from which we will reach out to each other. We will find strength in silence, and with this strength, we will turn again to your service. Shabbat Shalom. I'll now ask those at home to please rise as we turn to page 586 at the bottom of the page, Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, L'Ateit Gidula L'Yotzer Breshit, Shelo Asanu Kigoyei HaRatzot, Ve'lo Samanu K'mishpechot HaAdama, Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kahem, Ve'gor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam, V'anachnu Korim, Umishtachavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'nehemar B'haya Adonai Lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. You remain standing as we turn to page 598 to offer our mourner's Kaddish. And we will give a moment for all of you at home, if you are remembering loved ones, either those who passed recently or are observing a yard site, please say their names at this time. We also add the names of those, or the memories of those for whom we do not have names, for the many lives that have already been taken, for those we are connected to, those across the world, for all who are suffering, for all who have lost. We offer our mourner's Kaddish together on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, V'chayichon u'vyomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, V'agala uzman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam U'Le'amei Almaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yit'aleh V'yithalal Shemei D'Kudsha Barichu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata Da'amiran Be'alma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabbah min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom min Ramav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen. Zichronam Livracha. May every one of their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated at home. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So just a few announcements and something of a public service announcement in the same way. I hope that it has not been misconstrued in any way, shape, or form, the fact that I am still recording here from the sanctuary, to give suggestion that it is acceptable in any way, shape, or form, unless for emergency people who need to be outside and who are mandated to be working, who are in effect saving all of our lives by doing so, or for the necessary excursions to purchase food or pharmacy, of which increasingly has become less necessary and If you do not know, there are many, many places locally and in the city who are delivering. I come here to lead the service because it's the only viable option for me at the moment, but I do so solely. I come directly from home, I drive only in my car, I sanitize everything, both coming in and out of the building, and I leave immediately to go home. I am not in any way, shape, or form, by intention or by suggestion, to imply that anyone else should be doing anything or taking any liberties that the rest of us should not be taking. I do it only because I want to be able to make sure that we as a community still have a means by which to pray together, and the other avenues that are available at the moment are not ones that are viable for me or for my family at home. But I want to be sure there is no misconstruing my seriousness by which I tell each and every one of you who does not have to be outside to stay home. To stay home, to protect yourselves, to protect others, to protect our healthcare workers. It is a serious matter, a matter of Jewish necessity. And if you know others who are doing so, to do everything in your power to convince them to stay home. We have seen, unfortunately, many, many instances in which, especially religious leaders, have been continuing to hold services with people in place. And we are seeing the reality of the devastation that results from that, both in our tradition within Judaism, both here in this country and in Israel, and also in the other denominations as well. The vast majority of the religious world, including some of the most prominent rabbis, both in the state of Israel and here in this country, have made it clear that pikuach nefesh, the preservation of life, is paramount, and that we must not do anything to violate that. And if there was at any point a considerable risk by me coming here to impact anyone else but myself, I would not do it. I would find another way. But since it is simply myself coming into the building, leaving the building, setting up the equipment, everything basically is done entirely by myself, at no risk to anyone else. And should that situation change, or should the mandate by the state or our local government change, I will follow it to the letter. And I promise you, I do not treat any of this stuff simply, and I want to be sure that that is clear to each and every one of you. Beyond that, I also just want to say I hope that all of you are doing as well as you can be doing, but also to remind you that if you are not for any reason, or you need assistance for any reason, serious assistance, please, please, please contact me, and I will do my very best to help as best as I possibly can. We are shorthanded and limited in a lot of different ways, but we can still have an impact. I also want to make sure that if you didn't see the email that went out earlier this week, that we are attempting as best as we can to help some of the local families who are struggling to get food, to be able to afford food, working in partnership with Ola. There's an email with opportunities to sign up to take on individual responsibilities for that, again with complete control and protection over the manner in which you contribute and in which the family is ultimately able to collect the food. If you have any questions about that, please email myself or the co-chairs of our Social Justice Committee, Andrea Klausner or Alyssa Peak. And just to remind all of us that there are many, many ways for us still to help, even if we cannot leave the house. Lastly, just to say that with Pesach coming up, the other email you should have received from me this week was about our second night communal Seder, which will happen on Zoom on the second night of Pesach at 6 p.m. Because of some challenges that Zoom presents in terms of security, we're requiring that we need to know who is going to be involved, who's coming on. So please, there was a form there. Please just make sure you fill out that form, or if you're not comfortable with that, email me directly and say that you are going to be involved with an email address. On Monday, I will send out the link for that Zoom so that you know how to join. In addition to that, an online version of our Haggadah, which you'll be able to access, again, as I said, online in the same way that you've been able to access our prayer books for these services. So with all of that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, and hope I will see some of you online tomorrow for services. And the last piece, which is really wonderful, thanks very much to our leader, Ruth Joseph, one of our great members who helped to start, along with others, with Margaret Bromberg, Leon Oppenheimer, the Women's Torah Commentary Shabbat Torah study that we've been doing every month for the last several years, that we are going to do that tomorrow at noon via Zoom. I will send out a link for that as well. Anyone who would like to join, please join us. And my hope is that this will set the model for us to return to a regular Torah study each Shabbat. And also just a reminder that there will be a Pesach Shacharit service on the first official day of Pesach, same way in which you've accessed these Shabbat recordings on YouTube. And lastly, I know these are longer announcements than I even normally have for us. Thanks very much to some very generous help. We do now finally have the technology for actual live streaming, not recording. It's missing one final component, which is a microphone, which should arrive next week. So I hope very much to have that in place as of next Shabbat, so that services will be concurrent and live and available on our website, on Facebook, on YouTube, all simultaneously, and with capability for people to chat and connect to each other in that way. And I am doing my very, very best to also arrange for other opportunities for our community to stay connected. I'm sort of running from putting one fire out to the next, so I'm a little behind even where I would like to be, but I hope in the next few days to catch up. And so please keep an eye out for emails, e-blasts. If you're not getting them for any reason, please contact us. Make sure we have the proper email for you. It's the main means by which we can communicate with all of you now, so it's essential that we have your email address of choice on record. And if you have changed your email address in the last few years, please do let us know. So with that, those are the end of my announcements. And I'll ask you now, if at home, if you have a glass of grape juice or wine or something sweet nearby, and we will turn to page 123 for our Kiddush. Again, page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki bahanu v'chata ve'otanu ki gashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava u'ratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Chaim, Shabbat Shalom.